In a daring, well-documented nighttime raid, 23 Navy SEALs landed in an Al-Qaeda compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. They were there to kill or capture the world's most wanted man. The entire operation lasted only 40 minutes and ended with the death of Osama bin Laden. Did it? That's what the deep state, reptile aliens, or any number of conspiracy theory bogeymen want you to believe, sheeple. The truth is out there. In this video we will discuss 6 wildest conspiracy theories about Osama bin Laden's death. In this theory, some say the world's most wanted terrorist was suffering from Marfan syndrome, a genetic mutation that affects the proteins keeping the body's tissue together. According to former State Department official Dr. Steve R. Pieczenik, bin Laden looked like a textbook case of the disorder. His tall frame, long limbs, and long face all displayed classic symptoms. The disease affects 1 in about 5,000 people and can cause sudden death, and there is no definitive DNA test for it. Instead, doctors begin with judging the outward appearance of a suspected Marfanoid person, someone thin and often lanky, sometimes with spidery fingers and curved spines. Pieczenik claimed CIA doctors had treated OBL for Marfan, and the Al-Qaeda leader died just months after the September 11, 2001 attacks. Other claims say he died at the same time, but of renal failure, not Marfan syndrome. Like all great conspiracy theories, this one is fact mixed with a healthy dose of fiction, but the facts make it just believable enough to catch on. During the Soviet occupation of Afghanistan, the CIA flew Soviet-built weapons from Saudi Arabia to the Afghan Mujahideen. During Operation Cyclone, the conspiracy theory alleges that bin Laden became a CIA asset. At this time, the CIA, partnering with Pakistan's Inter-Services Intelligence (EC) agency, worked to build the mythos surrounding Osama bin Laden, so that fanatical terrorists would come to Afghanistan. Funded through the heroin trade, tacitly permitted by Pakistan, the CIA created a means to fight Islamic fundamentalism in one place. The raid that killed bin Laden, the terrorist, was allegedly a means to let bin Laden, the CIA asset, retire. This is a theory backed by the Iranian regime. This one comes from legendary investigative journalist Seymour Hersh. Hersh alleges that Pakistan's ISI captured the terrorist in 2006 and used him as leverage to operate in Afghanistan. The ISI then sold bin Laden to the US, but forced them to stage the raid that killed him. According to Hersh, when Navy SEALs arrived in Abbottabad, they were met by a ISI officer who casually walked them to bin Laden's bedroom. The SEALs then riddled him with bullets, tore his body apart, and dispersed them throughout the Hindu Kush. Hersh's sources for this story are both dubious and anonymous. In the London Telegraph, Abbottabad resident Bashir Qureshi dismissed the idea that bin Laden and his family lived in the area, though the raid blew out the windows on his house. He still dismissed the idea, saying, "Nobody believes it. We've never seen any Arabs around here. He was not here." The Pakistani press didn't help. Newspapers in the country alleged the raid was set up so US forces would have an excuse to enter Pakistan. Former ISI officials seconded that idea in Western media, noting that someone was killed and removed by the US forces during the raid, but it wasn't bin Laden. The real bin Laden was already dead, they said, and the US knew it. They just didn't know where he died. Another theory promoted by the Iranian regime says that the US captured and held bin Laden for years before finally killing him, fearful that forcing the world's most wanted terrorist to face trial in the US could result in a hung jury, or worse, an acquittal. The United States executed him and staged his death as an elaborate raid. This theory alleges that killing bin Laden was a stunt by the Obama administration in order to secure an election victory, even though the presidential election was more than a year away at the time. in keeping with the bin Laden was already dead. The United States just confirmed it line of thinking. This theory states that the United States had either captured bin Laden after the raid on Tora Bora, or that he died of renal failure well before 2011. The US then allegedly froze his body in liquid nitrogen to wait for an expedient time to announce the victory. The expedient times listed by proponents of this conspiracy include not clashing with the wedding of Prince William and Kate Middleton, and knocking an episode of Celebrity Apprentice off the air, so President Barack Obama could thumb his nose at Donald Trump. These were the 6 widely known theories. But still the question raises that will the true story of bin Laden's death ever be fully known? Or will it continue to be shrouded in secrecy and controversy?